Hello everyone, I'm Leslie Cornwell, Certified Nurse Midwife with Empowering Midwifery Education. This section has to do with financial freedom is possible for midwives. Legal disclaimer we put at the beginning of all of our presentations. This information is for general and educational purposes only, not intended to substitute for professional legal or clinical advice. We strive to keep our information as accurate and timely as possible, but make no promises and guarantees for your unique situation. The course objectives, the students will be able to verbalize what exactly is financial freedom. The students will be able to verbalize how to become financially free. They'll be able to verbalize specific things that midwives can do that are unique, they're easy to implement, and really getting you to shift your mind to become financially free. So this topic is really important. It's one of my favorite ones to talk to my consulting clients about, to just really open up the mind and challenge midwives, women, people in general, that you don't have to always exchange your time for money. You can become financially free. You can retire early. You can have money flowing into your life other than working for it. We've been conditioned our entire lives to be workers. That we don't get much financial education in school. We don't get much resources unless you really dive deep down the rabbit hole and want to take the initiative yourself. We're conditioned and we're put into our own limited self-belief that I have to make money because I have to work for it. So I challenge midwives, I challenge women that we can become financially free. You can have immense amount of money flowing into your life, and you don't have to sacrifice your time if you don't want to. So we want to be able to promote and get more access to midwives on a larger scale. I always stress to people, if you're exchanging your time for money as a midwife, doing a birth center, a home birth practice, working, you're eventually going to hit a peak level where you can only work so much, and then the revenue is going to stop coming in. You're going to get tired, you're going to get exhausted, you're going to sacrifice family time, personal goals you have. We want to be able to get financial freedom so you can sustain your midwifery practice. We get a team, we get multiple revenue sources. You can have legacy creation with your midwifery practice. You can grow and expand, that it's going to run whether you're part of it or not. So then it's not as vulnerable and your community will have great midwifery care long term. If we want to make legislature changes, those things cost money. If we want to improve access to midwifery services, great marketing campaigns, add financial value to collaborating physicians, healthcare systems, we need to have money flowing in our life to really take our midwifery opportunities in the future to the next level. So let's go to the basics. What is financial freedom? It's literally just having enough money, investments, cash flow, income streams coming into your life that cover your overhead and cover what you want to do. Each person, that's going to be different. One person may need $2,000 a month, one person may need $8,000 a month, another person may need $20,000 a month to truly get to the financial freedom. It's not so much the traditional retirement mindset that people have, where you get to 60 and then you live off your pension, you live off your 401k, you live off all the money you've saved up in time. I want to challenge, retirement is working because you want to, not because you have to. It's having income streams that take care of your day-to-day expenses and your vacations and your dreams, and you're choosing to work. You may or may not want to work. You may or may not do things that you're doing now. You may shift how you're a midwife. You may pursue totally different careers because that safety net of money coming in is there, that you can truly figure out your life's purpose and what makes you happy and do things on your own terms. So there's different ways to get a monthly recurring cash flow. You can get them through retirements, dividends, rental properties, books, royalties, businesses. The list goes on and on and on. And this one is a touchy subject for a lot of midwives because we have a certain belief and mindset of how you can make money. So I always challenge midwives, I always challenge people as a society. We have to get past what we were conditioned, that lower class, that middle class mindset of how we get money. We have to start thinking like the upper class. We have to start thinking like the elite, because they do not exchange their time for money. They create systems, they create value, they leverage their relationships. And so That is my challenge to midwives, is we need to start shifting that your only revenue source is not your time, because you're eventually going to run out of that. How to be financially free. This is a one that a lot of people, it takes time to get your mind to shift this way. You don't all of a sudden just click a button, win the lottery, and money comes into your life. You have to earn it. You have to show value. Money will be attracted to you with the law of attraction if you create value for other people. And there's many ways to create value. You can have knowledge, you can have relationships, you can exchange money, you can exchange time. But the ones that make the biggest impact are your knowledge and your relationships, and who you know, how you're helping them, and then the money flows in from those different things. So there's a simple way. Dave Ramsey talks a lot about this, which is a no-brainer. You want to spend less than you make. Well, duh, like if you make $10,000, spend less than $10,000. But the financial freedom has to do with those income streams that are coming in aren't the ones being exchanged for your own time. So if you stop working, you stop doing that time exchange for money, your bills are still getting paid, you're still living the life you want to live. So you have to look at a lot of the debt you have. Do you have good debt? Do you have bad debt? A house? Depending on who you talk to and listen to, I've always been taught that if it's not making you money, it's a liability. If it's making you money, it's an asset. So your house is a liability. You need it to live, but it's not making you money. There's no return on investment for money. There is the safety net. It's essential to have housing, but a rental property is an asset. You're making money off of the money you put into it, off of the deal you put together. There's many real estate investment strategies that I teach people about buying properties with no money down and getting unlimited return on investment for cash flow. It truly is possible. You just have to learn these knowledge, the tools, the strategies that are out there to make these things happen. Parkinson's law is a really interesting one. No matter how much money people make, they tend to spend that entire amount and a little bit more. When we've got credit cards, we've got this pushing the envelope human nature of everything, we always are struggling. I mean, people think, how can a multimillionaire be struggling? They're living outside their means. That Parkinson's law, they feel they deserve something. They get used to a certain standard of living. Your expenses rise in those increments. So we always teach people and challenge them when they get a raise, when big money comes into your life, to quickly turn it over and put it into an investment and not start living a higher standard of living, because you're conditioned to more money coming in. So those are things to think about. There's many times where people just scrinch and scrounge and they live in that scarcity mindset. And I know that's Dave Ramsey's philosophy, to not get coffee, not splurge, to cut every little part of your budget and live in a basic standard of living so that in the future you can retire, you can have it for a rainy day. And I personally don't want to live in a scarcity mindset for 30 years. And then guess what? When you get in retirement, you've lived that way your whole life. You're still going to be in a scarcity mindset. You're still going to be pinching and worrying. And I am at the philosophy of abundance mindset. I want to spend the time and the effort, instead of cutting things out of my life, I want to spend that time having a mindset shift of what can I create of increased value? What products can I sell? What revenue sources? What teams? What businesses? What systems? Where are there needs out there for midwives, for the community, deficits I can fill and increase revenue streams into my life? So I'm not looking at, I want to cut this out of my life. I want to stop doing vacations. I want to not go out for dinner anymore. I am always spending my time. How can I bring an extra $1,000 a month into my life? How can I bring an extra $50? What can I do with content creation, things that I will invest in that will reap the benefits long term? And it's a mindset shift. And so we have to really challenge ourselves when we want to become financially free. Budgets are a good idea. Whether you're the scarcity mindset or the abundance mindset, you should really know where your money's going. Too many of us with credit cards and auto pays. Rarely I hear people in their business and personal life actually have budgets. And budgets are really, really important. It keeps you accountable, aware. I mean, we do a review of our budget every 3 to 6 months in our personal life, and it blows my mind. I'm like, how did you sign up for a subscription? And now there's $20 a month coming out. He's like, oh, my husband's like, I'm sorry, I signed up for a trial and I forgot to cancel it. So like, it doesn't take money for just to be sucked out of our lives unnecessarily when we're not paying attention. So you want to respect your money, that law of attraction. You want to, you worked hard for it, you created systems. That money you want to use to the best of your ability, and so you're going to be keeping a close eye on where is money going, how is it coming in, where are we at on things, are we dipping into our emergency account, are we having a surplus every month, what can we do with that extra money? We've now met the 3 to 6 months of that cushion in our savings, and now we can start reinvesting. We can start looking at different ways, maybe connecting with the financial planner to do the more traditional route of investing, or you start saving up for a deposit of a real estate, opening a business with an SBA loan. You want to get that dream birth center going, hiring a team of midwives. Like, there's immense power in just little tiny changes in our life have a ripple effect. So being conscientious and not feeling out of control with our money, that I'm just drowning in debt and I don't know what to do about it. We need to acknowledge our credit card debt. We need to prioritize how we're going to pay things back. You're going to have a strategic plan of how you're going to fix things and improve, because where you are now in life is because of your mindset and your habits and who you are. So if you want to change in anything, you have to directly learn new habits, acknowledge the strengths and deficits you have, and pivot and change. Get outside your comfort zone, learn some new skills, look at a different way of challenges and problems and how you can solve. So there's definitely things with budgets you want to think about. You want to really just acknowledge where money going, how to track them, reinforcing your goals, making, even if it's $25 every single month, you're saying, I'm finding a way to put an extra $25 away. I'm finding, because it's the habit, it's the momentum. You don't all of a sudden start running 3 days a week, 30 minutes. You start getting on the treadmill 5 minutes. Then you start doing it 10 minutes a day. Then you start doing it 15, 20 minutes a day. The same exact concept is in any habit, and financial freedom is the same way. You want to start small. You ultimately have big dreams and big things you want to accomplish, but you have to take baby steps because it's a learning process, and you want to stumble and struggle with smaller amounts of money and increments as you're learning and growing, versus you really jump into the big ones and you may or may not be ready for that. So work smarter, not harder. This is a really, really important theme and concept. And this is how the elite and the upper class that make the rules, the regulations, the game, the financial system can be done where we're not working all the time. I hit this personally in 2017. I had my own private practice. I'm working all the time. And I was raised with that 1970s financial mindset. The way you made money 30, 40, 50 years ago is not how you make money now, how you invest, how you think about it. You would work and work and work and save for retirement. The harder you worked, the more money that was supposed to flow into your life. My private practice, I was working 100, 120 hours a week, and guess what? It was an inverse relationship. I was losing who I was working all the time. My kids were struggling. My husband was not liking me, and I was making less money. As time went on, I worked harder and harder and harder and more of my time and sacrifice, but I was actually making less money. So I really just stepped back, and it was that crisis pivot moment in my life that I started just searching, how do the rich make money? How do the upper class think? How, obviously they have it figured out. They live this life that I'm immensely jealous of and want to serve more midwives and moms on a larger scale. And I need money. I need resources. I need systems in place to make that happen. So we really just start thinking they create systems. They work far less than the middle class and lower class do, and they have so much more money coming into their life. So we have to shift our mind. We have to look at things differently. And so it's really, really important to start analyzing, how is money coming into your life? How are you spending it? What are you doing to create value outside of your own time? Whenever you work smarter, you do self-care, you do the miracle morning, you start networking with people, you start really looking at things differently. Instead of saying, I have to go into a job and get a paycheck and work my 12-hour shift, get an extra delivery on my due list because that's the way I can bring up money, sometimes just sitting back and stepping and saying, I have immense amount of value. I give lots of recommendations to our clients. So maybe there's some supplements, there's some classes, there's some online resources that I could get a commission from just recommending it because I recommend it anyways. What if I start talking to the doulas, the lactation consultants, the chiropractors, the people I refer to all the time for my clients? I'm adding financial value to them. We need to talk about a referral program. I'm sending people to them anyways. So we have to just step back and think, what is my knowledge? What is my relationships? What are the value I am creating for my clients, for my community? And how can I get financially compensated for that? So we have to start shifting our mind from what can I do with less and less time in my life, and then I'm wondering why I'm tired, exhausted, and I have poor self-care and I'm not happy, is because that's the only means of money coming in. So you want to have, this is essential, and this is the pivotal part of my mission, my vision for midwives, for birth workers, for women and our families in society in general. You have to have financial and business intelligence. It doesn't matter if you're working for somebody else. You still have to know how to add value when you're negotiating your employment contracts, when you're wanting to propose. There's so many midwife practices in the hospital close overnight because the midwives do not know how to add their financial value, to negotiate, to show their worth with procedure codes, with the quality measures, with the reports. They can't talk the talk of the other side of the system to show what their financial value is to that corporation. In your personal life, we really need to understand how money flows, what's the difference between money and currency. How do we get financially free comes down to understanding finances and business so that we can change how the money is flowing into our life. Budgets are important. Being able to create financial value, different revenue streams, cash flow quadrants, continuous learning and taking classes and audiobooks and getting a business mentor will help challenge you to start thinking differently and really looking at how the monetary system is set up. And it's a giant game, and we just have to learn how to play it. So you want to really become that elite. We want midwives to be more financially free. We want midwives to be able to serve. Could you imagine if your money was getting paid from some other passive income stream, how differently you would practice midwifery care? You would truly not be dictated by the insurance world and by how many clients you took because of the overhead expenses for your business. What if you could truly practice midwifery where the money wasn't part of the decision making? How powerful would that be? You could serve the underserved population. You could serve whoever you wanted on your terms because you weren't dependent on that revenue stream to pay your bills and to live your life. And so we really have to learn the game, the rules, the regulations. I'm not saying it's fair, it's right or wrong. It's just our system. And so you have to learn the rich and the upper class made this system, and it's to their advantage, but we all have access to it. I know there's a lot of controversy when you hear people say the rich don't pay taxes. There's a good chunk of the rich that do not pay taxes. When you have heavy real estate, you have high write-offs and tax deductions. There are lots and lots of the rich do not pay a dime in taxes. Jeff Bezos with Amazon. I know Trump with being president, there was a huge discussion of that. They're adding so much value into our society with food and housing and value creation. Our society incentivizes them. And these laws aren't just made for the rich. We all have access to them. So when you start investing in housing, you start investing in necessity needs that have the highest tax deductions, you can completely and legally be in that same boat where you don't have to pay taxes either. These are some of the great financial podcasts I love to listen to. Mark Kohler is an accountant and a lawyer, so he does a lot with legal system, with tax laws, with just financial strategies, and he's actually quite entertaining. He's a goofy guy, but their accounting firm and their legal firm is excellent, and I've learned so much from them for many, many years. The Napoleon Hill Foundation has many wonderful books: 3 Feet from Gold, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Think and Grow Rich rich. I've honestly listened to the 10-hour audiobook at least 7 times the last 7 years. So the more you can get your mind to open up and join a chamber of commerce, get a business mentor, really start challenging your mindset of who you are. Like last night, I was listening to a book recommended to me called You Are the Placebo. I'm halfway done with it, and it's phenomenal, the data and the studies about how powerful our mind is, of the placebo effect of if we can create our own energy, our own changes in our body, our own healing, our own direction, and we can do the complete opposite. We can create pessimism, we can create complications and challenges and problems and pain and issues in our body because we don't even realize the genes that we turn on and off because of our thoughts. So it's really exciting stuff with just neuroscience and so many great things that you are your greatest asset and you are your greatest liability. Of where you go in life is your mindset, is your knowledge, is your intelligence. It's your own glass ceiling effect of what you think you deserve and what you think you're worth and where you think you should be in life. So this is a really important concept, and honestly few people understand it. Understand the difference between good and bad debt. Debt, getting and borrowing money, can be a good thing. It always comes down to return on investment. Are you using your credit card to buy a toy, to go on vacation, to purchase something that's outside of your standards, and now you have a high interest payment plan that's sucking away your opportunity and you have to work a lot harder just to play catch up with spending and living outside of your means? If you get a small business loan, you use a business credit card and you make more off of the supplies and the things you bought than the interest, that's good debt. Are you getting a higher return on invest, a financial return? You're investing money and expecting more to come out of it, or you purchased something, but it's fun, it's play, it's totally just pushing the envelope of nothing is actually financially coming back out of it. You just feel you deserve it. So you want to stay away from bad debt as much as possible. Let your car run until you don't need to use a new vehicle every couple years. Keep a used vehicle. It's insane to me, the statistics. The average person buys a new vehicle every 2 years, and you're just in this vicious cycle of always having a monthly car payment. You're always refinancing every couple years. You're always moving. You're never going to be able to pay off that 15, 20, 30-year-old house loan because you're always resetting it to the beginning. And there's a lot of discussions we can have about amortized loans and how much money you're actually paying in the beginning of those loans versus towards the end. And that's the average person moves every 3 to 5 years. So you're getting stuck in that beginning part of 99% of the payment is interest. You're not actually gaining any principal and any value out of the debt. You want to understand, why are you getting the debt? What is it used for? What's the purpose? Think about things. Think about how much time it took you at this point to collect that money, and is it worth it to you, or can you reinvest that? I reinforce to people, like, spend the time learning and creating systems, and you're going to be working harder than the average person at a job in the beginning because you have a learning curve. You have systems you're creating, but I promise if people really shift their mind, 3 to 5 years, your life is going to be 1,000 times better than anybody in a W-2 corporate job because they're stuck within the same pay scale and minimal raises every year. When you create a business and you create income streams and you create value, it's a compounding effect. The more you do it, the better you get at it, and the higher those income streams become because you've shifted your mind. And so it is completely possible for anybody. It doesn't matter your background, your system, your barriers, where you're at. Anybody can truly be financially. So the more common thing a lot of midwives will do is just starting a business. We add so much value with our skills, our knowledge, doing home births, a women's health clinic, a birth center, inventing something that helps out midwives, solving problems. We can midwife the midwives. I hear so many midwives are like, I love supporting women. I love helping out, but I don't want to be on call 24/7. I don't want to directly give patient care as I've started to learn what makes me happy. You can solve problems for women. You can can really do research, you can create a product, you can get advocacy, you can do online consulting if you learn you want to travel, you can do telemedicine visits. You just have to think outside the box. This is what I want to do, and how can I create a business around it and add value that people will pay and compensate for? Real estate, these are the top two things for financial freedom. If you read the books about the millionaire next door, 7 habits of highly effective people, the key theme that would happen over and over again for the rich, the upper class, is they owned businesses, they weren't self-employed, and they owned real estate. Business, real estate, business, real estate. It didn't say they got financial freedom because of their stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. That's the typical thing conditioned for the middle class, lower class to use to eventually be able to retire. So I had to shift my mind because I was taught my entire life, you get a job, you work for money, you save for a rainy day, you work your butt off, and then at 60 you get to play. Why can't I play now? Why can't I figure out income streams into my life? And the rich do it this way. So the next thing is looking at owning real estate and doing it in a way that you could do Airbnbs, you could do fix and flips, you could do long-term rental properties. There's so many strategies. I took 2 years of real estate investing courses with Renatus. It's an online and in-person financial freedom real estate investing company. I learned about foreclosures. I learned about so many cool real estate investing strategies that the average person just doesn't even know exist. So you can literally buy a real estate property with no money down. You find a motivated seller. There's some really cool strategies out there. You have them become your bank. It's called creative acquisition. So I don't want people, these are those mental blocks we get. I don't have any money to invest. It's too risky. I don't want to clean toilets. People have these stigmas of opening a business and buying real estate that we have to get past. Get a property manager. Truly make the overhead expenses of it turnkey so that you create the deal and you make the money because you've added value of someone having some housing. So we want to challenge midwives. There's a lot of midwives that have real estate. And I would say my big difference I noticed with consulting clients, the ones that are happy and financially free, they own business, they have multiple real estates, they have multiple revenue streams, versus the ones that are self-employed and tired and exhausted and burnout. They're only exchanging their time for money, and the overhead expenses, inflation is eating away their profits, and they're struggling and feeling like they have to take more and more clients. So there is a very different stigma and mindset between self-employment and being a true business owner, running an operation, a system that you can step away from and that it'll continue to make money. Multiple income streams is another consistent theme. The books I've been reading, the average millionaire has 8 income streams in their life. It's not just money coming from one place. They maybe have $50 here, $500 here, $1,000 here. Like, there's multiple revenue streams coming into their life from different things. You have to create those. Maybe you're recommending some products. You can become a marketing affiliate with Amazon. Super easy. If you do sexual health and you recommend some certain products, some gels, some natural hormone replacement therapies. There's products online that you consistently recommend to people. Get a QR code, have them just purchase it from you. Have a little boutique shop in your midwife office that people will pay a little extra for convenience. You said get some iron supplements, get this specific prenatal vitamin, your vaginal flora is off, so you should pick up these probiotics. Have them at your office. They can choose to buy them from you, or they can choose to buy them from another place, but we need to think outside the box of what are these wonderful things I'm recommending, I'm offering, and I'm part of that I could get some money off of. So you want to look at, there's traditional ones, there's retirement accounts, there's dividends of profit sharing from other businesses, the business you created, the rental income products, referral programs, royalty from books, from online courses, from products. I just read a wonderful article about a nursing student. She's made $2 million the last 2 years because she was having trouble learning the content, and so she started a TikTok video. She was a visual learner. She would make her own study guides, and talk about them. And that was her way to learn and to teach herself. And then people would ask, can I buy the study guide from you? Can I buy the study guide? She created this awesome study guide book, sells it on Etsy, and gets hundreds and hundreds of requests frequently for her knowledge and her value and what she's created, because she did it in a different way. She wasn't learning from the traditional textbook. Her style of learning had immense value to so many other people. She still practices as a nurse, but she has a passive income. She's already made this study guide. All she has to do is ship it out, and she could pay someone to ship them out for her for how much she's making. So I want to challenge each and every one of you that it's not a unicorn. It's not a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You create value, people will compensate you for it. So find out where there's problems and challenges, because if you are having an issue with something, I bet you there's other people having the same challenge and problem. I love to give the example of Maylene Hegenberger. She's an awesome midwife from Europe. I've been honored to meet and connect with the last few years. She invented the Hegenberger speculum because she was having consistent problems with suturing and not being able to visualize, limited resources, hands, pain, especially those deep sulcal tears into the vagina. She created this speculum that holds and stays into place, and she can independently suture and cause far less trauma and pain, and avoid taking people to transfer to the hospital for repairs, avoid going to the OR because you can't visualize well. Like, she had a problem and she solved it. She didn't solve it overnight. She had a box with one of our YouTube interviews of 500 different proteges before the final product was made. It took her 3.5 years to make this, and volunteers and practicing, but she is making multi-millions, and she is changing the face of midwifery around the world because of her invention. So we can do anything. We truly, truly can, and I challenge each and every midwife to think about that. Think about how you can create multiple revenue streams. I'm reinforcing to you over and over again. If you want a quick fix, you want a button to push, you want to win the lottery, this isn't for you. But if you are wanting to change your mindset, change and have a ripple effect of what's possible in your future, we can have a conversation. We can really change what's possible in your life for anybody. You have to network with the right people, go to chamber meetings. You want to surround yourself by people that are going to take you to the next level. I've read tons and tons of studies about we are the average income and lifestyle of the people we hang around. So just start hanging around new people. Start being the weakest link in a mastermind group. Surround yourself by people that are going to take you to the next level, versus you're hanging around people reiterating your mindset and your lifestyle and how money is made. You're going to continue to be that way. So we really need to look at what skills you have now, what skills can you create, what online courses, what books, what products, what ancillary services for your practice. Go from a solo model to a team, what rental properties. You could easily create a midwifery school. You could, if you have people coming from a far distance, we had people that we would work out a group rate at the local hotel. Maybe I would get a rental property and I would have a long-term revenue stream for families to be able to stay in town the last month versus trying to stay at the hotel if they were a distance away. So there's many, many things you can do. Your clients and your community have challenges. Figure out how to fix them. You want to keep yourself healthy. There is so much data about health and wealth go hand in hand. Financial freedom means nothing if you're dying early, you're sick, your body is weak. You can't do anything with it. You just pass on this inheritance you've created. Like, health and wealth have to go side by side, and their habit changes. If you have overweight and you don't exercise and you don't take care of yourself while you're getting financial knowledge, start changing. It's easier to change multiple habits all at once. Your body is used to conditioning to change and absorbing new routines. Start when you're doing the miracle morning, start walking in the morning 20-30 minutes. Getting yourself a walking treadmill while you're sitting and doing meetings. Instead of quickly eating out because you forgot to pack a lunch when you're doing all these home visits, planned Sundays, you're making your mini lunches that you're going to grab for the rest of the week. We have to do habits, we have to plan, we have to shift. You have to start making baby steps of making yourself healthy, because where you are now in your finances and your health are because of your mind and the habits you currently have. So you have to shift and change. start eating better. The return on investment, when you're buying organic, you're not buying processed food, you're making your meals, the return on investment is immense with the medical bills, the way you feel, the way your mind thinks, the extra energy you have, you sleep better. It's a compounding effect of you're getting so much more back in your life. You're going to memorize things easier. You're going to creatively solve a problem a lot faster. You're going to be less likely to toss and turn and be anxious if you just are healthier. How you take care of your body and the cells can't work if you're not drinking enough water, if you're not putting the good vitamins and minerals into your mind and your body, your cells can't work well. You're going to have more aches and pains and tired and exhausted and feeling more negative energy. Focus on your goals. There is so much data out there of your vision board and what makes you happy and how you think, and writing things down. The more you look at what you want, not just thinking about it, getting an accountability coach, writing things down, making checks off the list, having objective. The more detailed your goals are, the more likely they are to happen. So thinking about, in 3 months, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And how are you going to do it? What are you going to do? By 6 months from now, I'm going to have an extra $500 a month into my life. You start challenging yourself. You start thinking, what can you do to make that happen? How can you make that happen? You start implementing day-to-day habits and making a strategic plan versus, I hope this will happen. I hope I get financial freedom. I hope I lose 100 pounds. I hope. Hope is a very different thing than I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do. You shift a different part of your consciousness and your mind. When you write down your goals, you have a vision board, you have an accountability coach, you truly are objective in thinking in details how you're going to make a milestone, a change in your life. So you want to have, like, I have a vision wall. I've talked to many amazing midwives when they're planning their birth center. They turned their living room into a chalkboard wall and they just brainstormed and they saw it often, and their dreams became a reality because they put it out to the universe. They put it out to people. They would talk about it all the time, and then all of a sudden somebody would come and chat with them and be funding for their dream because they put it out there. They talked. They said, I want to open a birth center. I haven't quite figured out where I'm going to get the down payment from, but it's going to happen. We need it in our community with COVID, with what's happening, with the disparities in the hospital. You start talking at friends and family and dinner dates and networking meetings. The money, the funds, the people, the things you're looking for will come to you. It's absolutely amazing how it happens. So I just want to stress to midwives, I can't stress this enough. We are where we are in life because of who you are, what you're doing, your habits, your thinking. So if you want to be financially free, you have to start challenging yourself. It is completely possible. It is completely available for everybody. And I'm honest, I'm not there yet. This has been a 5-year journey for me. It took 3.5 years of stumbling and figuring out what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. I kept trying with the fear and anxiety, fit being a midwife in the typical system. It took me a while to really just let go and be the midwife I want to be and be in my zen and learn who I am. So everybody is different, but I am 70% of the way there. We are so close to being financially free, and it's amazing. It's exhilarating, and it's truly a compounding effect of the more you create systems, the more you create passive income streams, the easier it gets and the better it is. There is so much data about the first $1 million is the hardest to make. The more money you make, the easier it is, because it's your mind, it's your knowledge. You have such a learning curve in the beginning to shift to get to that first $1 million. But once you get there, it is 1,000 times easier to compound and do it more and more. And it has to do with you and the learning curve you're going through. So I want to stress there's so many ways to get passive income streams into your life, to think outside of the box of exchanging time for money. We have immense value we can add with our knowledge and our relationships and solving problems on a larger scale. As midwives, we have massive challenges and disparities in the maternal health care system. I have the challenge of which problem do I solve first? There's 1,000 problems out there, and I know I can help fix them, but which one makes the most sense for me to tackle first? And that's why I made the consulting business and the online education first, because I can take all this knowledge and I can expand it to the masses pretty quickly with a low overhead. And the money that comes in for those services is a compounding, it's a springboard I'm using for these other businesses that need more overhead, need more operating expenses. They're going to take more time for the revenue. So you have to think about and work with a consulting coach, work with a mentor, a life coach, and really challenge yourself. Where do you want to be? Where are you now? And how do I tackle these things with a supportive person? Because anything is truly possible.